At the edge of the world, where the Arctic Ocean meets the frozen heart of the North, lies an island so vast it defies comprehension. Greenland stretches across more than 2 million square kilometres, a frozen continent disguised as an island. To put that in perspective, this single landmass is larger than France, Germany, Spain, the United Kingdom, Italy, Greece, Switzerland, and Belgium combined. Yet despite its immense size, fewer than 60,000 people call this icebound wilderness home. From above, Greenland appears as a white void, punctuated by dark coastlines and deep fjords. The island extends 1,600 miles from north to south and more than 650 miles at its widest point. This is not just the world's largest island. It's a frozen kingdom that holds secrets about our planet's past and warnings about its future. The story of Greenland begins with ice. Across 80% of its surface, a massive ice sheet stretches toward every horizon. This is not ordinary ice. These are layers upon layers of compressed snow that have accumulated over hundreds of thousands of years. In some places, the ice reaches depths of more than 3,000 meters, so heavy that it has actually pressed parts of the bedrock below sea level. This ice sheet is a living archive. Each layer tells the story of ancient winters, preserving atmospheric conditions from millennia past. Scientists drilling into its depths can read the climate history of Earth itself, of volcanic eruptions, changing temperatures, and atmospheric composition stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. The ice moves constantly, flowing outward from the center like a slow-motion river toward the coasts. Along the edges of this frozen ocean, the ice meets the sea in spectacular fashion. Glaciers carve through valleys, their blue tongues reaching toward dark waters. When chunks of ice break away, the sound echoes across the fjords like thunder. These icebergs, some the size of buildings, drift slowly into the Atlantic, carrying with them water that fell as snow when pyramids were being built in Egypt. The relationship between ice and ocean here is both beautiful and ominous. Scientists have been studying Greenland's ice for decades, and their findings paint a sobering picture. For 28 consecutive years, the ice sheet has been shrinking. Each summer, more ice melts than accumulates during winter. The numbers are staggering. Greenland loses approximately 270 billion tons of ice every year. To understand that scale, imagine the weight of 26,000 Eiffel Towers disappearing into the ocean annually. This ice loss isn't just a regional concern. Water from Greenland's melting ice contributes between 30 and 40% of current global sea level rise. The ice sheet holds enough frozen water to raise global sea levels by more than 7 meters if it were to melt completely. While scientists don't expect such a catastrophic scenario in the near future, even partial melting could reshape coastlines around the world. Yet Greenland is far more than ice. Along its edges, where the ice sheet retreats, a different landscape emerges. Rocky coastlines stretch for nearly 40,000 kilometers. If laid out in a straight line, Greenland's coast would almost circle the Earth at the equator. These shores reveal a land of surprising diversity. From deep fjords cutting inland like frozen fingers, to broad valleys where hardy vegetation clings to life during brief Arctic summers. The island's human story begins more than 4,000 years ago, when the first peoples crossed the frozen waters from what is now Canada. These early inhabitants, ancestors of today's Inuit populations, developed remarkable survival skills that allowed them to thrive in one of Earth's most challenging environments. They hunted seals through holes in sea ice, built homes from snow and stone, and navigated vast distances using dog sleds and skin boats. But Greenland's most famous early visitor came from a different direction entirely. Around the year 982, a red-haired Norse explorer named Erik Thorvaldsson was exiled from Iceland for 3 years. Rather than serving his sentence quietly, Erik chose to explore westward into unknown waters. What he found was a land of ice-filled fjords and green valleys that reminded him of his Icelandic home. Erik possessed not only courage, but also considerable marketing skills. Despite finding a landscape dominated by ice and snow, he named his discovery Greenland. This wasn't accidental deception, but calculated strategy. He knew that a place called Greenland would attract more settlers than a place called Iceland, which already existed and had a reputation for being cold and forbidding. His marketing worked. In 986, Erik led a fleet of 25 ships, carrying around 500 Norse settlers, to establish the first European colonies in Greenland. They built farms along the southwestern coast, raised cattle and sheep, and created a society that would endure for nearly 5 centuries. At its peak, the Norse settlement numbered around 3,000 people, living on hundreds of farms scattered across the fertile valleys. These Norse Greenlanders weren't just farmers. They were traders, explorers, and craftsmen who established connections across the North Atlantic. They traded walrus ivory and polar bear pelts for European goods, built stone churches that still stand today, and even mounted expeditions further west to what they called Vinland, now known as North America. Archaeological evidence suggests they reached the shores of Newfoundland 500 years before Columbus set sail. The Norse settlement thrived during the medieval warm period, when temperatures were slightly higher than today. But as climate began to cool during what historians call the Little Ice Age, life became increasingly difficult. Shorter growing seasons made farming more challenging. Sea ice lingered longer each year, disrupting trade routes. The last documented event from the Norse settlement was a wedding ceremony in 1408. After that, the European presence in Greenland simply vanished, leaving behind only ruins and mysteries. What happened to these Norse settlers remains one of archaeology's great puzzles. Some may have died from disease or starvation. Others might have been absorbed into Inuit communities that were expanding southward during the same period. Still others may have simply sailed away to seek better fortunes elsewhere. The abandoned farms and churches they left behind stand as silent monuments to human ambition and the power of climate to shape civilizations. Today's Greenland is officially part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but the relationship is complex and evolving. The island enjoys extensive self-governance, managing most domestic affairs while Denmark handles foreign policy and defence. This arrangement reflects Greenland's unique position as both an integral part of the Danish realm and a distinct Arctic nation, with its own language, culture and aspirations. The capital city of Nuuk, known in Danish as Godthåb, sits on the west coast where colourful Nordic-style houses climb hillsides above a harbour filled with fishing boats and occasional cruise ships. With around 18,000 residents, Nuuk is home to nearly one-third of Greenland's entire population. Modern apartment buildings stand alongside traditional wooden houses, while the University of Greenland and the country's parliament represent the political and intellectual heart of this Arctic democracy. Life in modern Greenland reflects both ancient traditions and contemporary realities. Many residents still hunt seals and whales using methods passed down through generations. But they're just as likely to use GPS navigation and high-powered rifles as traditional harpoons and kayaks. Dog sledding remains important for winter transportation in remote areas, though snowmobiles and helicopters increasingly supplement or replace traditional methods. The economy of Greenland tells a story of adaptation and dependence that stretches across centuries. Today, the island relies heavily on financial support from Denmark, with the annual block grant providing nearly half of all government revenue. This arrangement has allowed Greenland to maintain modern infrastructure and services across vast distances. But it also highlights the challenges of sustaining a small population in such an extreme environment. Fishing forms the backbone of Greenland's independent economy, accounting for more than 90% of all exports. The cold, nutrient-rich waters surrounding the island support massive populations of shrimp, halibut, and cod. Massive factory ships process catches at sea, while smaller boats work closer to shore, their crews navigating between icebergs to reach the richest fishing grounds. The industry employs thousands of Greenlanders and connects remote settlements to global markets. Beneath Greenland's ice and rock lies another story entirely. Geological surveys have revealed vast mineral wealth, including rare earth elements, gold, uranium, and precious stones. The island sits atop some of the oldest rock formations on Earth, dating back nearly 4 billion years. These ancient foundations contain resources that could theoretically transform Greenland's economy, but extracting them presents enormous challenges. The combination of extreme weather, environmental concerns, and massive infrastructure requirements makes most mining projects economically unfeasible for now. The southern regions of Greenland reveal landscapes that challenge every assumption about Arctic environments. Here below the Arctic Circle, summer temperatures can reach comfortable levels, and the influence of ocean currents creates microclimates where sheep graze on surprisingly green pastures. Viking ruins dot these valleys, their stone foundations marking where medieval farmers once grew barley and raised livestock. Modern farmers continue this tradition, though on a much smaller scale, producing vegetables and dairy products for local consumption. Moving northward, the landscape transforms dramatically. The Ilulissat ice fjord on the west coast showcases one of nature's most spectacular performances. Here, the Jakobshavn Glacier, one of the fastest moving ice streams in the world, meets the sea in a continuous display of power and beauty. The glacier advances at speeds of up to 35 meters per day, constantly carving icebergs the size of skyscrapers into the dark waters of Disco Bay. Standing at the edge of this fjord, visitors witness a process that has continued for millennia, yet accelerated dramatically in recent decades. The sound is overwhelming. A deep groaning emerges from within the glacier as massive chunks of ice shift and crack. When a tower of ice finally breaks away and crashes into the water, the impact creates waves that rock icebergs kilometers away. The UNESCO World Heritage designation of this site recognizes not only its natural beauty, but also its importance to scientific understanding of climate change. The wildlife of Greenland has adapted to conditions that would challenge most life forms. Polar bears roam the northern ice, their massive paws perfectly designed for walking on snow, and their dense fur providing insulation against temperatures that can drop to -40 degrees Celsius. These apex predators can weigh more than 800 kilograms, yet they move across the ice with surprising grace, hunting seals at breathing holes with patience that can last for hours. In the waters surrounding Greenland, marine life thrives despite the cold. Humpback whales migrate here during summer months, feeding on the rich concentrations of krill and small fish. Their songs echo through the deep fjords, complex melodies that can travel for miles underwater. Walruses haul themselves onto rocky shores in massive groups, their tusks gleaming in the low Arctic sun as they establish hierarchies through displays of strength and intimidation. The Arctic fox represents perhaps the perfect adaptation to Greenland's environment. These small predators change their coat colour seasonally, from brown in summer to pure white in winter, becoming nearly invisible against snow and ice. They follow polar bears across the sea ice, scavenging from seal kills, but they're equally at home hunting small mammals and birds across the tundra. Their thick fur and compact body shape minimise heat loss, allowing them to remain active even during the darkest, coldest months. Musk oxen, survivors from the last ice age, graze in herds across Greenland's interior valleys. These massive animals, with their flowing guard hairs and curved horns, look prehistoric because they essentially are. They've remained virtually unchanged for thousands of years, their bodies perfectly adapted to survive Arctic conditions that would kill most large mammals. When threatened, they form defensive circles, with the young protected in the centre, a behaviour that served them well against ancient predators, but proves less effective against modern hunters. The northeastern corner of Greenland contains what may be the most pristine wilderness left on Earth. Northeast Greenland National Park covers nearly 1 million square kilometres, making it larger than most countries. This vast protected area encompasses everything from the northern tip of the ice sheet to remote Arctic islands, where polar bears den and Arctic wolves hunt in packs. The park has no permanent human inhabitants, only occasional visits from researchers and the legendary Sirius Patrol, an elite unit of the Danish military that travels by dog sled across thousands of kilometres each year to maintain sovereignty over this remote territory. Within this protected wilderness, ecosystems function exactly as they have for millennia. Arctic wolves hunt musk oxen across valleys where no human footprint disturbs the snow. Ringed seals maintain breathing holes in sea ice while polar bears wait patiently above. Millions of seabirds nest on coastal cliffs during the brief summer. their colonies creating some of the loudest, most chaotic scenes in the Arctic. The isolation of this region preserves not just individual species, but entire ecological relationships that have disappeared from more accessible parts of the Arctic. The climate of Greenland varies dramatically across its vast expanse. The southern regions experience relatively mild conditions, with summer temperatures sometimes reaching into the teens Celsius, and winter lows rarely dropping below -20. The warming influence of ocean currents moderates coastal temperatures, creating conditions that surprised early Viking settlers, who found valleys suitable for farming and livestock. Moving northward, the climate becomes increasingly severe. In the far north, winter temperatures can plummet to -50 degrees Celsius, while summer highs struggle to reach above freezing. The sun disappears entirely during the polar night, plunging the landscape into months of darkness broken only by the aurora borealis dancing across star-filled skies. During the brief summer, the midnight sun never sets, creating a surreal landscape where shadows stretch impossibly long across the ice. Precipitation patterns across Greenland reveal the island's climatic complexity. The southern and western coasts receive substantial snowfall and rain, with some areas recording more than 2 meters of precipitation annually. This moisture, carried by Atlantic weather systems, feeds the glaciers and maintains the ice sheet's mass in these regions. Moving inland and northward, the climate becomes increasingly arid. The far northern regions receive less than 50 millimeters of precipitation per year, creating polar desert conditions where snow rarely accumulates, and the landscape resembles the surface of another planet. The midnight sun of Arctic summer transforms Greenland into a land where time loses meaning. For 2 months each year, the sun never sets across much of the island, casting everything in golden light that shifts and changes but never disappears. Wildlife adapts to this endless daylight by compressing their activities into intense periods of feeding and reproduction. Plants burst into bloom during the brief growing season, carpeting valleys with purple saxifrage and Arctic poppies that must complete their entire life cycle in just a few weeks. Human communities adjust their rhythms to match these extreme light cycles. Children play outside at midnight, while adults work in gardens bathed in golden sunlight that feels like perpetual evening. The absence of true darkness during summer creates a dreamlike quality where normal schedules become meaningless and the boundary between day and night dissolves entirely. Transportation across Greenland reveals the challenges of life in this vast roadless territory. No highways connect the island's settlements. Instead, boats serve as the primary links during ice-free months, while aircraft provide year-round connections across the interior. Small planes land on gravel airstrips carved from tundra, their engines struggling against Arctic winds as they carry essential supplies and passengers between isolated communities. Dog sledding, practiced for thousands of years, remains an essential winter transportation method in remote areas. Teams of powerful Greenland dogs, bred specifically for Arctic conditions, can travel hundreds of kilometers across sea ice and tundra. These dogs possess incredible endurance and an instinctive understanding of ice conditions that no mechanical vehicle can match. Their thick coats and webbed feet allow them to work in conditions that would immobilize most other forms of transportation. The relationship between humans and dogs in Greenland extends far beyond mere transportation. These partnerships represent thousands of years of mutual adaptation and survival. Greenlandic sled dogs are not pets in any conventional sense. They are working animals bred for strength, endurance, and intelligence. A good lead dog can navigate across featureless ice using scents and subtle environmental cues that humans cannot detect. These animals understand ice conditions instinctively, knowing when thin ice threatens to break or when weather patterns signal approaching storms. Modern Greenland exists in constant tension between ancient ways and contemporary demands. In Nuuk, teenagers text on smartphones, while their grandparents prepare traditional foods using methods unchanged for generations. Satellite internet connects remote settlements to global networks, yet many residents still depend on hunting and fishing for subsistence. This cultural balancing act plays out daily as communities navigate between preserving traditional knowledge and embracing technological advancement. The educational system in Greenland reflects this cultural complexity. Schools teach both Greenlandic and Danish languages, while also incorporating traditional knowledge about hunting, navigation, and survival skills. Children learn about polar bear behavior alongside mathematics, understanding that both forms of knowledge remain essential for life in the Arctic. Universities now offer programs in Arctic studies, combining indigenous wisdom with modern scientific methods to address contemporary challenges. Climate change has become impossible to ignore in Greenland. Elders speak of ice conditions and weather patterns that no longer match the knowledge passed down through generations. Hunters find themselves navigating increasingly unpredictable sea ice, while traditional hunting seasons shift as animal populations respond to changing environmental conditions. The very foundations of traditional life face unprecedented challenges as the Arctic environment transforms more rapidly than human communities can adapt. The psychological impact of these changes extends beyond practical concerns. For cultures intimately connected to ice and snow, watching glaciers retreat and sea ice diminish creates a profound sense of loss. Traditional stories and songs reference landscapes that younger generations may never experience. Navigation techniques developed over millennia become less reliable as familiar ice formations disappear and new weather patterns emerge. Tourism in Greenland has grown substantially in recent decades, bringing both opportunities and challenges to isolated communities. Cruise ships now navigate passages that were previously blocked by ice year-round. Visitors come seeking authentic Arctic experiences, drawn by images of pristine wilderness and traditional cultures. This influx provides economic benefits, but also raises questions about cultural preservation and environmental impact. The tourism industry showcases Greenland's stunning natural beauty to international audiences. Helicopter tours reveal landscapes of impossible scale and beauty. travelers witness calving glaciers, encounter Arctic wildlife, and experience the otherworldly quality of polar light. These experiences often prove transformative for visitors who return home with new perspectives on climate change and human relationships with extreme environments. Local guides, many of them traditional hunters and fishermen, now serve as interpreters between two worlds. They share knowledge about wildlife behaviour, ice conditions, and traditional techniques, while also explaining how these practices adapt to changing conditions. Their expertise becomes invaluable for visitors seeking to understand both the natural environment and the human communities that call it home. The infrastructure required to support modern life in Greenland presents constant engineering challenges. Buildings must withstand extreme temperature fluctuations, hurricane-force winds, and ground that alternately freezes and thaws. Construction materials must be imported at enormous cost, while building techniques adapt to conditions where concrete cannot cure properly during winter months, and permafrost affects foundation stability. Energy production in Greenland relies heavily on imported fossil fuels, creating both economic and environmental concerns. Remote communities depend on diesel generators for electricity, while transportation costs make fuel extremely expensive. Recent initiatives explore renewable energy alternatives, including hydroelectric power and wind generation. Though implementation faces unique Arctic engineering challenges, communication systems across Greenland overcome vast distances through sophisticated satellite networks. Internet connectivity reaches even the most remote settlements, connecting Greenlandic communities to global networks while also preserving and sharing traditional knowledge. Social media platforms now carry conversations in Greenlandic, helping maintain linguistic connections across scattered communities. The healthcare system in Greenland demonstrates remarkable adaptation to geographic and climatic challenges. Medical emergencies in remote areas often require helicopter evacuations across hundreds of kilometres of wilderness. Local health workers receive extensive training to handle conditions ranging from hypothermia to polar bear attacks. Traditional healing practices complement modern medicine, particularly in communities where cultural approaches to health and wellness remain deeply embedded. Food security in Greenland combines traditional hunting and fishing with imported goods that arrive by ship during ice-free months. Many families maintain traditional food preparation methods, creating dried fish, preserved seal meat, and other foods that can sustain them through long winters. Modern grocery stores in larger towns stock international products, though prices reflect the enormous costs of transportation to Arctic locations. The scientific importance of Greenland extends far beyond climate research. The island serves as a natural laboratory for studying everything from extremophile bacteria to astronomical phenomena. The clear, dry air and minimal light pollution make northern Greenland ideal for astronomical observations. Research stations scattered across the ice sheet collect data that contributes to global understanding of atmospheric science, glaciology, and Arctic ecology. International research collaborations bring scientists from around the world to study Greenland's unique environments. ice core drilling projects extract samples that reveal atmospheric conditions from hundreds of thousands of years ago. These frozen archives provide crucial data about past climate variations, helping scientists understand natural climate cycles and predict future changes. The aurora borealis reaches spectacular intensity across Greenland's northern regions. The Thule culture, predecessors to modern Inuit populations, developed particularly advanced technologies for Arctic survival. Their innovations included sophisticated ice houses, efficient hunting equipment, and navigation techniques that allowed them to travel vast distances across sea ice. Archaeological evidence suggests they established trade networks spanning thousands of kilometers, connecting communities across the North American Arctic. Modern archaeology in Greenland faces unique preservation conditions. The cold, dry climate preserves organic materials that would decay rapidly in temperate environments. Researchers have discovered intact textiles, wooden tools, and even human remains that provide unprecedented insights into ancient Arctic life. However, climate change now threatens these archaeological sites as permafrost melts and coastal erosion accelerates. The linguistic landscape of Greenland reflects its complex cultural history. Greenlandic, or Kala Alisut, belongs to the Inuit language family and remains the primary language for most residents. Danish serves as the second official language, reflecting colonial history and ongoing political connections. However, English increasingly influences younger generations through global media and internet connectivity. Language preservation efforts in Greenland address concerns about cultural continuity. As global communications reshape local communities. Traditional stories, songs, and oral histories carry knowledge about navigation, hunting techniques, and environmental understanding that cannot be easily translated into other languages. Educational programs now emphasize maintaining Greenlandic fluency while also providing access to international languages and knowledge systems. The political evolution of Greenland continues moving toward greater autonomy while maintaining essential connections to Denmark and the broader international community. Self-governance expands gradually as local institutions develop capacity to manage increasingly complex responsibilities. This process requires balancing traditional governance structures with modern democratic institutions. Resource development discussions in Greenland involve complex negotiations between economic opportunity and environmental protection. The island's vast mineral wealth could theoretically provide economic independence, but extraction would require massive infrastructure investments and pose significant environmental risks. These debates reflect broader global tensions between development and conservation in fragile Arctic environments. International interest in Greenland extends beyond scientific research and tourism. The island's strategic location between North America and Europe, combined with its vast natural resources, attracts attention from major world powers. Climate change opens new shipping routes through Arctic waters, potentially increasing Greenland's geopolitical importance as ice-free passages become more reliable. The future of Greenland remains deeply uncertain as multiple forces reshape both the physical environment and human communities. Climate change continues altering fundamental aspects of Arctic life. While technological development provides new opportunities and challenges, traditional knowledge systems prove their continued relevance while also adapting to unprecedented environmental changes. Young Greenlanders navigate between maintaining cultural connections to traditional ways of life. And participating in increasingly globalized economic and social systems. Many pursue higher education outside Greenland before returning with new skills and perspectives. This circulation of knowledge and experience helps communities adapt while maintaining cultural continuity. The story of Greenland ultimately reflects humanity's remarkable capacity for adaptation and survival in extreme environments. From the first Arctic peoples who crossed frozen seas to reach this island, through Viking settlers who established farms in Arctic valleys, to modern communities that maintain cultural traditions while embracing technological innovation, Greenland demonstrates the resilience and creativity of human societies facing extraordinary challenges. As the Arctic continues changing at unprecedented rates, Greenland stands as both a witness to these transformations and a laboratory for understanding how human and natural systems respond to rapid environmental change. The lessons learned here may prove essential for addressing global challenges as climate change reshapes environments worldwide. This frozen island at the edge of the world continues teaching us about survival, adaptation, and the intricate relationships between human communities and the natural systems that sustain them. The relationship between land and sea in Greenland creates some of the most dramatic coastlines on Earth. Massive fjords cut deep into the interior, their steep walls rising thousands of meters from dark waters. These ancient valleys were carved by glaciers over millions of years, creating underwater canyons that extend far below sea level. Some fjords stretch more than 200 kilometers inland, creating protected waterways where massive icebergs drift slowly toward the open ocean. The interplay of fresh and salt water in these fjords creates unique ecosystems. Glacial meltwater, rich in minerals and sediments, meets the nutrient-rich waters of the Arctic Ocean. This mixing zone supports abundant marine life, from microscopic plankton to massive whales. The layering of different water temperatures and salinities creates distinct zones where different species thrive, establishing complex food webs that have sustained Arctic communities for millennia. Tidal forces in Greenland's fjords can be dramatic, with water levels fluctuating by several meters. These powerful currents carve underwater channels and redistribute sediments across vast areas. During spring tides, the movement of water creates whirlpools and standing waves that challenge even experienced boat operators. Traditional hunters learn to read these water patterns, timing their journeys to take advantage of favourable currents while avoiding dangerous conditions. The seasonal rhythm of ice formation and melting shapes every aspect of life along Greenland's coasts. During winter, sea ice extends far from shore, creating temporary bridges between islands and providing hunting grounds for seals and polar bears. This ice highway allows communities to travel between settlements using dog sleds and snowmobiles, following routes that become impassable during ice-free months. Spring breakup transforms the coastal landscape dramatically. What appeared solid and permanent suddenly becomes fluid and dangerous. Ice flows collide and pile up along shorelines, creating temporary mountains of broken ice that can reach heights of 20 meters or more. The grinding and crushing of ice creates sounds that carry for kilometers about ice conditions that allows them to navigate safely through these changing environments. Experienced hunters can determine ice thickness by its color and sound, recognizing subtle variations that indicate safety or danger. They understand how wind and current affect ice movement, predicting when passages will open or close based on weather patterns and tidal cycles. The hunting traditions of Greenland reflect thousands of years of accumulated wisdom about Arctic survival. Seal hunting remains central to many communities, providing not only food but also materials for clothing, tools and fuel. Traditional hunting methods require intimate knowledge of seal behaviour, ice conditions and weather patterns. Hunters must be prepared to travel long distances across dangerous terrain, often in extreme weather conditions. Whale hunting in Greenland follows ancient protocols that balance subsistence needs with conservation concerns. Communities that have hunted whales for generations maintain detailed knowledge about migration patterns, feeding behaviours, and population dynamics. Modern regulations incorporate both traditional knowledge and scientific research to ensure sustainable harvesting practices. The preparation and preservation of traditional foods requires skills passed down through generations. Families work together to process seals, whales, and fish using techniques that maximize nutrition while ensuring long-term storage without refrigeration. These methods produce foods with unique flavors and textures that remain central to Greenlandic cultural identity. Traditional clothing in Greenland represents some of the most sophisticated cold weather gear ever developed. Sealskin boots, known as kamiks, provide waterproof protection while maintaining flexibility in extreme cold. The traditional women's clothing, called a national costume, combines practicality with elaborate decorative elements that indicate regional identity and family connections. The art of making these traditional garments requires years of training and practice. Women learn to prepare skins using techniques that create materials with specific properties needed for different purposes. The knowledge of which animals provide the best materials for particular uses, how to process skins for maximum durability, and how to construct garments that provide optimal protection represents accumulated wisdom, refined over countless generations. Modern Greenlandic artists increasingly incorporate traditional materials and techniques into contemporary works. Sculptures carved from soapstone, bone, and antler reflect both ancient artistic traditions and modern aesthetic sensibilities. These works often address themes of cultural continuity and environmental change, creating visual narratives that bridge traditional and contemporary worldviews. The musical traditions of Greenland blend indigenous practices with influences from Denmark and other cultures. Traditional drum songs performed during community gatherings carry stories and historical accounts that preserve cultural memory. These performances create social bonds while transmitting knowledge about hunting techniques, navigation methods, and spiritual beliefs. Contemporary Greenlandic music incorporates traditional elements with modern instruments and styles. Musicians sing in Greenlandic while using electric guitars and synthesizers, creating unique sounds that reflect the cultural complexity of modern Arctic life. These musical innovations help maintain linguistic connections while engaging younger generations who might otherwise lose touch with traditional culture. The role of storytelling in Greenlandic culture extends far beyond entertainment. Traditional narratives contain practical information about survival techniques, animal behavior, and environmental conditions. Stories about successful hunts preserve knowledge about effective strategies, while tales of dangerous encounters warn about potential hazards. Spiritual beliefs in traditional Greenlandic culture remain closely connected to the natural world. Animals, weather phenomena, and landscape features all possess spiritual significance that influences hunting practices, travel decisions, and community relationships. While Christianity has largely replaced traditional religious practices, many spiritual concepts continue influencing how people understand their relationship with the Arctic environment. The integration of traditional knowledge with modern technology creates new possibilities for Arctic survival and navigation. GPS devices supplement traditional wayfinding techniques, while satellite phones provide emergency communication in remote areas. Weather forecasting services help hunters plan expeditions, though local knowledge about environmental conditions remains essential for safe travel. Climate monitoring in Greenland combines traditional observations with sophisticated scientific instruments. Elders who have observed environmental conditions for decades provide baseline information that helps scientists understand long-term changes. Their observations about ice formation patterns, animal behavior changes, and weather variations contribute valuable data to climate research programs. The impacts of climate change on traditional hunting practices create significant challenges for Arctic communities. Changing ice conditions make traditional hunting grounds less accessible or completely unavailable. Animal migration patterns shift as environmental conditions change, requiring hunters to adapt techniques developed over generations. Food security concerns in Greenland intensify as traditional hunting becomes less reliable. Communities that have depended on predictable seasonal patterns now face uncertainty about when and where traditional food sources will be available. This uncertainty affects not only nutrition but also cultural practices and social structures built around hunting activities. The economic implications of environmental change extend throughout Greenlandic society. Tourism provides alternative income sources for some communities, but this industry also depends on environmental conditions that climate change affects. Visitors come to see glaciers, wildlife, and traditional cultures, but these attractions face threats from the same environmental changes that challenge local communities. Greenland stands as Earth's greatest testament to the power and fragility of ice. A frozen archive where past and future converge in crystalline silence. From the ancient layers of its massive ice sheet to the modern communities adapting to unprecedented change, this island reveals humanity's enduring capacity to find life in the most challenging places. As climate patterns shift and glaciers retreat, Greenland reminds us that even the most permanent seeming features of our world exist in constant motion. In witnessing this transformation, we glimpse both the resilience of Arctic life and our shared responsibility to understand and protect these irreplaceable landscapes. At the edge of the world, Greenland continues its ancient dance between ice and ocean, teaching lessons that reach far beyond its shores. Thanks for watching.